the tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hello all, sorry we're late. I'm driving and I wish I had an excuse, like I couldn't figure out where to park, but it's not an actual vehicle, so apologies, technical issues on my part. But thanks for making it on a weird day and night for most of us. I also wanted to first and foremost, because we all know everyone else here, but this guy is new to us. Christian, welcome. We'll probably be familiar with your name in the group at least, but do you want to mention briefly like what your bread and butter is as far as collecting? I see the prints behind you, obviously, so we'll get along okay. I won't keep
Yeah. I started collecting a few years ago. Started out with just helmets, and then I still have all the helmets I started with, but I've switched to more Regal Robot stuff, obviously. I've got most of it. And then been speaking with Jason a lot, getting into the, found part stuff and the modeling and stuff like that. So it's a lot to take in and learn for sure.
Yeah, we're not good people to talk to when you're trying to not spend money. So
yeah, I've already realized that.
Yeah. We're all like somewhat financially stable people before we started hanging out together. But next I'll move on to Parm. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, CC. Good to be on. Thank you for inviting us again.
Sounds like it's been a long week for all of us, so I really do appreciate everyone being on. I know it's late for you guys in particular. I'm not worried about Nathan so much because I feel like he just runs on Red Bull probably.
Red Bull.
So no Monster? 0 calorie?
No, just pure, just water.
Just adrenaline.
Pure water. Definitely not vodka.
And Tony, another long week for you, but hope you're doing well.
I'm doing really well. Good to see you, CC, and everybody. Nice to meet you, Christian. And it's been it has been a long week, but glad to decompress talking a bit of Star Wars with you guys. So yeah, happy to be on.
And if we have time, because I was reminded we did have some cool like Star Wars content news this week, or at least the last 2 weeks, with Tales of the Empire, Outlaw, I think is the game, and what was the other one?
Acolyte.
Acolyte, of course. Sorry, I was a little underwhelmed by the trailer. Spoiler alert. So, but yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to pick your brains on that as well. Jason, how you doing?
Busy but good. Yeah, doing good. It's
yeah.
Been,
it might. I don't like mean to underwhelm people, but this month I think is going to be quite crazy for all of us. So that's why we decide skeleton crew. My God, we've got 6 people. But we our schedules are quite busy with like travel and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to mention 2 pieces of art print news that are coming up towards the end of the month, just because I don't think I'll do an art print show this month like I wanted to, just because we are traveling and doing a lot in the next month or so. But Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, good to be back as always. Yeah, nothing really special, really. Sorry, Jake?
I love the shirt.
Oh yeah, I didn't wear it last time. Thought I'd get it out to rep.
Could have ironed it, Nate. Come on.
I got too fat to wear mine.
It could have ironed it. I'm joking, mate. I'm joking.
I mean, it's a t-shirt. I don't need to iron it.
I'd be lucky if I could find mine. Also, mine, normally I would have, Jason remembers this. Normally, a lot of my Star Wars shirts are like men's shirts because they always have the best shirt, like whatever. But I bought the 4%er female cut shirt because Jason specifically made a point of them making one so I would have a shirt, and I don't think it would fit now. A whole almost 2 years later, so you know,
for anybody who's interested, right? I know it's been a while
Yeah,
since
right.
we were the hot thing in town, but and I think Nathan can contest to this, but me and Matt spent endless days, even weeks, making sure that those t-shirts were premium, not those like stiff, rock solid ones that chafe you. Like that's premium cotton, right?
Funny you say that, Jay, because as I was putting it on earlier, I thought about what Matt said about the quality shirts, and I was like, yeah, it is. You know,
it's a nice quality shirt, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
feels good. Because me and Matt were like, well, if it's going to be something we're going to sell, then it's going to be something that we would want to wear. And then we went through like endless, probably about 40 or 50 different variations and samples, and then we landed on that. So not bad.
Good.
I think the white boxer shorts are where it's at, though, aren't it? Surely. I mean,
How many of those did you sell?
3. We sold a lot of shirts. We actually sold a lot of shirts, but the boxer shorts only 3. Surprisingly, a lot of mugs sold. The coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Surprising how many of those sold. Yeah, that was an interesting. Like we sold just as many mugs as we did shirts.
Those were cool back in the day. Those like camper style mugs.
Yeah. That's had like the little fold over with the. Hey, Dill's in the stream
And
again.
actually, yes, 2 streams 1 day. That sounds like a bad viral video.
I love the next comment. I don't know. Christian, I don't know if you're too young to get the joke on this one.
Oh, I know who he's talking about.
Hacksaw
Never done any wrestling.
1980s WWF.
That is old school WWF, isn't it?
Yeah. I will say regarding the Skeleton Crew, so Rob last minute, he really wanted to make it, but he couldn't. He had some stuff come up, so we'll be catching up with him later morning. I forget where Chris is, where it's morning.
I think JB's referencing the show as well, Skeleton Crew, as potentially something to talk about, but I don't think there's been anything released on that yet, has there?
I don't think
right?
so. Yeah, other than the trailer at Celebration last year, I don't think we've seen anything.
Mm-hmm.
But let me remember. Oh, and speaking of shirts, that was hilarious. I entered a contest with Regal Robot. I don't know if you guys noticed, but
the only entry.
Fuck yeah! So
wait, did you get it? Did you win?
I did, and I was
Nice.
like, I messaged Regal Robot Rob and was like, please give it to the other dude because he seems quite keen, and he was like, nope, like yours is the only PG entry, like you, sorry. And so I'm getting one of the gray shirts with just the Regal Robot logo. I only have like the blue Harvest kind of style one, so but I did think that was hilarious because I thought mine, I didn't give 2 shits about mine because I assumed there's going to be like 30, and then come a week later it's only me and this other dude who had like a disemboweled tauntaun in his entry, and then I turned mine into a tom like the GPS thing as a joke to be funny, and that's, I guess it was enough to get a t-shirt. Let me see if I remember how to share my screen so it looks halfway decent. Okay. So obviously we know Tony Parminder and Jason's thoughts on this. But of course, I wasn't able to make the show, so I'm bringing it up again. And the hype is real. Everyone's still. I'm sorry.
I said that's right. I completely forgot. Yeah, I'd love to get your feedback.
Well, and I will say, I did notice, like we had a few comments on that video. I'm really awful about checking comments on the YouTube videos, but I did notice a few people had commented, and I think. I watched the show, I swear. I did. I watch shows even when I'm not on them. But I think there was footage or video or a photo of like the back of the helmet with the canisters. and that one of the stripes, the red stripes on the canister, it looked, I want to say, and sorry, Rob, if I get this wrong, I want to say it looked thinner on the prototype he was handling than it did in some of the photographs. So he had told people who were commenting on it that he's doing the research and working on it. I told him that my theory, as soon as I saw that, was that it was the difference between what the helmet looked like during production and what the helmet looks like now, like a la the Boba Fett helmet with the crack. So where they did the Boba Fett helmet run and they decided to keep the crack as opposed to fixing it, because even though they knew that crack in the helmet had happened after production had wrapped. So he didn't tell me that was like, he just gave me a thumbs up to that scenario. I don't know if that's the case here, but for those people who had some kind of concerns about the thickness of that red stripe, not necessarily the one on the Hawk, I'm talking about the one on the canister, he is looking into that. In case you guys were sweating over it. I know everyone seems super stressed about it. So I just wanted to like calm everyone's nerves that they are working on it. And did anyone else had noticed that?
Not really, no. I think there are a couple of differences on the tape between the two helmets, but it is just electrical tape that they've used, and I'm pretty sure they'll get it right. It's not like a found part or anything like that. It is just electrical tape. So, but I think Rob did point out there were some differences between the tape used on the two helmets, other than the red stripe that was again, which I think is electrical tape as well, which is put on the back. But it's really difficult to tell from the screen used helmet, because that is really rough looking now, I think. Certainly on the pictures we've seen off Jez's website, which is what I've gone on, that's like 15 years old, isn't it? So
yeah, at least 15 to 20.
Yeah. So
but I kind of like it, and it's you know me, Tony. I and Parminder especially. I like when things are as they look in the archives or as they sit today. After production, and I kind of like that broken down, weathered, worn, sort of post-production look. But ironically, and this goes without saying, however, after this dropped and all that sort of chaos kind of subdued, I got a handful of messages like, this is wrong with it and that's wrong with it and this is incorrect and that's incorrect. And I'm like, look, teach their own, it's subjective, but if anybody's going to do it right, it's going to be RS. And we talked about this on the show where, unfortunately, you could say, well, Anovo says access and this person has access. Yeah, they do, but digital files are scanning a TIE pilot and then, adding after the fact pre-bleeds versus seeing one of the only two in existence in hand, I think goes a long way in reverse engineering and studying how it was actually built and pieced together. So I have 100% faith that this is going to be, a beautiful, beautiful piece all around.
Yeah,
Guy Cowan from ArchiveX was at RS, I think, recently, and managed to get his hands on one of these, and he was thoroughly impressed with it. And obviously, Guy's got a keen eye for quality, right? So, I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed when they get this in their hands.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I think the that was the reason why they stopped looking at the original helmet they did many years ago, because they obviously based it on what reference they had, but typical RS, they parked it because there was some details on there that they weren't sure about, and I think the paint was probably one of them. But I mean, from what I gather, they've made several trips down and had hands on with with one of the original helmets, and you can't get any better than that, I don't think. So this will be as accurate as you can possibly get it without doing what some gentleman did or lady did 20 years ago and steal one. So
exactly.
It's going to be
surprised at how. Yeah. So I was surprised at how accurate they got the potentiometer, because that's the one thing that is never correct on all the helmets. I've seen some really good replicas, right? I've seen some really well done pieces, but that's the one thing that, obviously because nobody really knows what it is, hasn't been ID'd yet. But I think from what I've seen with RS, they nailed it.
Yeah, that detail pops out straight away on the. That was one of the first things I noticed. Just the sheer detail on the little sort of cog parts that go around that. And you see it on some of the other helmets, and it's very soft. So however they've done that, cast it or whatever off the original, that looks really, really smart. And those are the sorts of details that really make the difference. And I think I don't know if anyone saw the Rob destroying the sacrilege, destroying the Sony tape player on their last video. Again, just shows you what they're doing to get the some of these found parts for the ATAT helmet. It's just research from them. So anybody's got any fears about what it's going to look like, I would really dismiss it. I mean, most of us have had RS helmets, whether you've got 1 or 2 or 7 or 8, and I've never ever. They're all spot on. They're all spot on. The quality, is exceptional.
And I honestly can't recall which, because it looks like, and it could have just been how they filmed it, where we're obviously seeing like it's thinner in this screenshot, that stripe, and then in is it Jez in the Star Wars helmets photos, it's a little thicker. I think the prototype Rob had, it was on the slightly thinner side, like more accurate to this photo. Is that right? I really don't. I'm trying to feign concern about this because I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather. I think there is a personal preference there as far as if you want something that looks how it did during the time of production versus how it looks now. And I like that they've stuck with kind of the integrity of what it looks like now, like they did with the Boba Fett helmet, and even how they weathered the Scout Trooper blaster, where they did the weathering, how the Ira Keller blaster looks now versus what it looked like on screen. So I'm totally fine with that. I like that school of thought. But he, like I said, he is doing more research, so I'm sure they'll post an update regarding it. And speaking of just their updates, it sounds like they're totally redoing the studio. Tired of freezing out their employees and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. So it sounds like we might not get a podcast from them anytime soon, but hopefully at least a Friday update. But I can't recall. So of us, I got the red stripe. Harm, you got
red stripe. Yeah.
Okay. Tony.
Red stripe.
Nathan, I don't know if you got this.
I got the yellow stripe.
You got the I didn't bring it up. You got the exclusive hot toy instead. Yeah.
You got the Clone Wars one.
I got the Clone Wars stripe.
You got the phase 2. The phase 2. And then Jason, what was your preference?
The red stripe again, mostly like everybody else because it had the nostalgia aspect of the Kenner figure.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only reason I went for that. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. So, I didn't know that. So, was it the Kenner figure had the red stripe?
It did, yeah.
Oh, that's cool to know.
And that's why, ironically, it's such an iconic helmet, because this is in a scene where it's not a character that's throughout the movie. He's in the scene for what? You get 30 seconds, 20 seconds at best, maybe. Between both fighters, it shoots. There's a shot that pans to them driving the AT-ATs and then pans away, and that's it. And I think he became so iconic because you had the Kenner figure, and it was a very aesthetically appealing figure. Probably one of my favorites. I loved him in the Biker Scout, and also the Gunner. But the Gunner part of the last 17 was a little bit trickier to get later on. But with the red stripe, it just has that nostalgia factor. So it was a surefire bet that way. But I think that was the problem, is so many people were going after it for that exact reason. because it connected to the childhood aspect of it. But either way, like we discussed before, technically with the few small variations, they're two in the same. I mean, they took the actual helmet, just changed it a little bit for the next shot.
Mm-hmm. And then, Christian, did you pick this up? Or if you didn't pick this up, would this be something that you'd be into in the well, they're not doing another run of this, but like, is this up your alley, basically?
Yeah, I've spoken with Jason about it. I would like one. I was actually out of town the weekend they released and went back and forth between like 3 different states that weekend, so was unable to get one.
I think like most things, I think these will be not terribly easy to come by, but things always happen. Like those happened with, I mean, the Y-Wing was kind of crazy as far as what people were expecting after that run sold out. But I think the same with like I was telling them actually before the show started that I just got a helmet in this week, but it's been 2 years since I ordered it. And it's still a beautiful helmet and I'm sure I'd love it, but I think my tastes have changed quite a little bit where I was like, I probably had no business buying that helmet in the first place. So I'm sure there'll be like opportunities other than this to get it. Just don't look for it on eBay.
He's actually the one who found the eBay listing.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
And that mysteriously disappeared. It was kind of strange how that works.
I was like, I gotta post this. Is that all right? He's like, yeah, go for it.
That guy. I don't know why this formatting's all jacked up, but I did want to mention this because I don't know if my brain is yellow because of the week I've had, or we did talk about this and I've just completely forgotten. But I'm pretty sure there are spots available. I don't know how many, but Tony and Parr, maybe you could speak to this. Because this was another thing that they updated that they're obviously working on these helmets as well. The plaques have signed quite a bit ago. They showed off the signature card that'll come with the helmet, but I don't know how many slots are available, but for whatever fucking reason, there's
very small handful. Yeah, I think less than 5 is if I recall. Okay. But,
okay. I'm still surprised that there's 5. I don't. I really don't understand.
Yeah, I don't. Sorry.
Go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
Yeah, I think a couple more sold since Rob did the Neil Ellis. Well, I wouldn't say it was an interview, but they had a chat, didn't they? Which was actually really interesting. So obviously Neil had a lot to do with the the finishing of the RS helmet for Rogue One, but he's done so much more in the Star Wars universe. He's expert model maker as well. And if you haven't seen the interview with Neil and Rob, I highly recommend it. Even if you haven't got much interest in the helmet, some of the work and films he's been on is really, really impressive.
Yeah, as far as lineage goes, I don't think it gets any better than this. But of all of the like Disney related films, I wouldn't expect like Rogue One is really highly regarded. So if there are 5 people out there, like jump on this fast because my theory was that this came out right after Christmas, and that's why it was still available because it looks fantastic. I saw not this one, but unless this is the one pictured, I don't think it is, but I saw the one that Beck had painted kind of as like a personal pet project. Didn't look fantastic in person. It was in the studio and I went. I'm sure you guys saw it too. Well, heck, you might have seen these. They're working on them. So yeah, if you're keen, please jump on the Hyperdrive if you're not already a member. Also, what are you doing if you're not? And get in touch with Christian to get those slots filled. Would anyone else? So I know you guys, Tony and Parm, you guys are original trilogy, so that's the only reason why.
So I passed on it simply because of that. Otherwise, I would have definitely picked this up.
Yeah, same.
Jason, Christian, Nathan, what about you guys?
I did get this.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of this particular piece. Big fan of Rogue One. Love the movie, and I think Neil did a great job on this. So yeah, I like that he was able to, talk on it and give some feedback and input on the concept of it and all. Yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, it's a biker scout, right? Can't go wrong. And then you have it where aesthetically it just looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen,
I thought about getting it because I have the 2 tubes hyperdrive exclusive, and I've upgraded. I upgraded to the Rogue One version bus for that too, so I thought about getting it to pair with it.
Peanut butter and jelly, brother. They go together like that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that would
Nathan.
be. That would be.
Didn't you mean jam, Jason?
I'm sorry, butter and jam. It's not the cookie; it's the Newton.
That accent, though, just
yeah, it's more of a Boston accent. I can't do the English. Yeah, kid, it's jam, dude.
Don't do it.
Don't go there.
Did you get one, Nathan? Did you get the biker helmet?
No, I didn't. But the biker helmet is one of my favorite helmet designs. So it looks pretty cool. I'm wondering what part of Rogue One is it from? I'm trying to think.
It's when they're meeting up with Saw Gerrera, right? When Brody is like, take me to Saw. Is it? Am I correct? I think they were like in the desert, 2
correct.
tubes. And,
yeah.
He's like part of those guys.
Oh,
but I can't tell if it's. I could never tell if it's like its own character or like in Mandalorian where it's been repurposed, like if it's something that was found and repurposed, or if he's a biker scout who just kind of like adorned his own the way he wanted. But either way, the whole stylistic approach behind it was fantastic.
There's one really pretty, like, decent shot of him with like his arms crossed, and I'm just seeing it. And he's like leaning against like a rock or something, and I love it. And he's got like the leather, like bandolier kind of pouches. The design was just fantastic. Very like remnant based, but it's like that kind of design that you could fill in the story and wonder if he's like a turncoat scout trooper or if it was like just sourced parts, almost like trophies over the years. I'm trying to find a hot toy for Nathan.
And I think these are going to ship soon, right? So once people start getting them in hand and showing, I suspect if there are then any slots left, they will sell out very quickly. Because I think when you see a helmet in somebody's collection, you can picture it in your own collection. So I anticipate that once they're in people's hands and they're showcasing them, if there are any slots left, they will go.
Yeah, there's a lot of scratching on the helmet as well, which you can't see. It's impossible to see from the photos, but when you handle it, there's some real grime and scratching on there that doesn't show up. That's blown out by the photography.
There's a lot of layering to that actually. More than you can tell in the.
Yeah, so I think it's Simon painting them. So I mean, he's done an amazing job. Really amazing job. I mean, we only saw the paint master, but they're gonna be at that level, and they really are. When we went up, we were sort of we're definitely not going to get this, and then as soon as we were ruminating on it when we were driving back, thinking, do we try?
Yeah, we were trying to convince each other, weren't we?
How do we manipulate this into an original trilogy? But it is that good. It is that good, and I think and to have Neil's signature as well. It's really the icing on the cake. I just think he's a really cool guy. I've seen some of his model work as well. I think he did the Emphas Nest swoop bike, Solo speeder. I think he worked on Ray speeder, Krennic shuttle as well. There's a picture of him. There's a picture of him. So if you search his name and put model maker in, there's a picture of him in front of some of the models he's done, some of the concept models. And there's just on the video with Rob, there's quite a funny story when he met Dennis Muren and he ran up to get the Chronicles book for him to sign. So I just thought that was really, that was really cool. But this is I mean, it's direct lineage, isn't it? It's not second,
Right.
third generation. It's straight off the original. So,
And I'll use this as a segue because Parm said it really brilliantly that sometimes things will like linger until people have them in hand. I know not everyone here is into statues, so I don't know if we'll spend much time on these, but I did want to mention them. So this is the Iron Studios, I think they call it Legacy Edition, even though there's like, it's just a statue. Like, I don't think there's anything that sets apart their Legacy statues versus I think they call it like a Legacy replica, which replica in my mind as a top replica collector doesn't make any sense either. This was based on the Kenobi series, which a lot of people still have some heartburn about, but I'm a sucker for the on throne pose. I did have this on order and I'd canceled it because I had way too much on order. I still have too much on order. But someone I follow who does some sculpting work for Gentle Giant, who I also hope never watches what we talk about when it comes to Gentle Giant, because his renders look fantastic, and then Gentle Giant paints them and they don't look fantastic. But he had posted this, and someone had said that the edition size was going to be 450. That being said, it hasn't even gone up for order with Iron Studios yet, which is kind of strange if they haven't like officially set the edition size. So it's speculation at this point that it would be 450, but that's quite low for a Vader. But I understand it's a throne piece. It weighs 33 pounds.
Now this is quarter scale, right, CC?
This is quarter scale. Yep.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, it's a beautiful piece, but that's a very big piece.
It's a beast. I think the price was like on par with most quarter scales of this, like given the base and everything. But most retailers, I think, have it either out of stock or waitlisted. Out of stock, I don't understand if it's not officially been released, but it has been delayed several times. So I think this one's been delayed again another 6 months. Oh, wow. So no idea when we'll see this, but Parm was talking about like when you get pictures in hand, people tend to change their minds. And that was one of these for me. Someone had mentioned that the paint seemed quite flat, and I can't say I disagree with that.
It's based on A New Hope Rogue One, right? So
it's got a New Hope. So if that's the case, it's correct.
It makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah,
and
that's A&H.
I wasn't sure if it was like Vader was flat or the marble texture on the throne.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I wasn't paying attention to the patterns of the marble of the throne to have an issue with it. But I do still like this.
The only thing about the damaged helmet in this particular pose, it makes sense as a dynamic pose, but where this is a life support system, I can't picture him just like chilling in a chair. You know, like no, I'm not being real, right? Unless it's like a scenario where like he just took his licking and he's like, oh, I gotta sit down for a second. You know?
Yeah. Rest somebody else's legs.
Honestly, I almost like
That's a good point,
there's that's kind of like what I like about custom makers is I think they push the envelope quite a little bit more than these ones who like these license holders who have restrictions. And I almost kind of wish like we saw him kind of more slumped in the chair, like you would imagine if like half like Jay said, like half your life support system is gone. Because they even have I believe they have a swap out for the chest box as well. That's like cut down the center, like in Kenobi, so that adds more context to the fact that like realistically we wouldn't see him in this kind of position. My mind doesn't go through that. I'm just like, it looks fucking cool, so I think I might have to just deal with it.
It does. It looks great.
It does look good. Yeah, I saw this and thought it looked good.
I'm also a sucker for the throne poses, and I think that's how I justify statues a lot of the times, where I'm like, I've got 2 so far, so this would be my 3rd, and then I'm running out of space for statues. But yeah, I thought this looked pretty good. And then small statue update. I don't think anyone here has this on order, which is why I didn't ask
Mm-mm.
anyone.
I don't myself, but I actually saw a few pictures of this, and I mean, I wouldn't order it. It's just not for me, but I actually quite like it. I think it's well done.
And my understanding is, sorry, I just realized I threw this up here and I didn't say anything else. I'm pretty sure it's sold out. Like some people have been selling their pre-orders because things happen, life happens. But my understanding is this is sold out completely from MFA who are doing this, the custom makers. This isn't licensed. It is a 1-to-1 scale bust. That chest box damage is actually very similar to like the Iron Studios chest box damage that I talked about. I have this on order. The reason why I mention it is it's expected to start shipping at the end of the month. So just be aware of that as things come up that they'll be hitting people up regarding addresses and shipping and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you do have
I
this.
do like what they did to the eye too. Like the exposed eye is very clean, but has that Sith look to it. Yeah.
And I think this posture is kind of what I wish the Iron Studios one had, where it's like this looks like he just got his ass beat, but he's still like menacing. I kind of wish
he almost looks angry that he's like he looks like he's not in the moment. Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to throw those more of like administrative updates.
The more images I see of this, the more I like it.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that because the retail on this was not bad at all. This was like not much more than the Iron Studios one I just showed. And then another statue update, and then we'll get to what Nathan's waiting on.
Again, I think once people have this in hand and are showing it off, perhaps that'll change and people will be jumping over themselves trying to get it. Because again,
that's what always happens, though, right? Like
once you see something in production, the production quality of it, and amongst other pieces, amongst other busts.
Well, and also I was kind of surprised. I don't know why I was surprised, but I feel like it's come about very quickly as far as like from concept to prototype, and now it's ready to ship. I don't know if I'm my time's just flying and I didn't realize it.
I think it's taken as long as their it is MFA, right? It's taken as long as their Luke and Leia statue, because I think the Luke and Leia statue that they did was announced perhaps 3 or 4 months before this was, and that's now in people's hands. And I think as of 3 or 4 months, so it's about right. It just seems, as we were talking, Celebration was a year ago, right? Time is literally flying by.
But so maybe a year. I think I'm used to some of these license companies. It's 2 years for some of these statues. So and on the same page with MFA. So they're trying to get me to buy more statues, including this one. So this is going to be a Vader. I had posted it. Well, I'm pretty sure it's the same one I posted the teaser where you could see his face, and it was the like battle damage face from Kenobi. So I would assume that this is kind of going to be like a pretty good companion piece to the life-size bust. They are going to be doing this in 1/3 and 1/4. And for those 1/3 collectors, God bless you. I can't do it. But I'm sure it would have amazing presence and all that. I don't know anything about the cape, if it's going to be mixed media or anything like that. I kind of think it's cool that the lightsaber looks like dragging on the ground a bit. This will go up for order, I want to say May the 4th, or around May the 4th is when they'll reveal it. So hold on to those wallets till May the 4th, because it's going to be a doozy, I feel like, between this and Celebration tickets. And then speaking of May the 4th,
I still
real
gotta get my
quick.
ticket for the movie, for the re-release.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that yet. I am doing that. I posted it in the group. I'm doing that Empire Strips Back parody burlesque show.
You're performing in it?
When you say you're doing it, what do you mean?
Listen, I know I just got over stomach flu, but like no one needs to see me in anything like that. I'm still not in shape for that stuff. But it's in my hometown, and like I've heard great reviews. It sounds like a few people even in our group went to it. But I posted the posters that my friend got me, and so that's what I'll be doing May the 4th. and probably ordering a bunch of stuff, including this. So this is going to go up through Bottleneck on May the 4th. We haven't seen the variant yet, if they're going to do the quad, but just because I know a lot of people are excited about this one. They also are doing like a popcorn bucket that's not as offensive as the Dune one for this release. I forget. I don't know exactly what theaters in the UK would be doing it. I wish I knew, because I know Ogden tends to do poster giveaways and stuff.
Yeah, I saw he posted something about I think it's the Odeon in Sheffield where he's doing a giveaway.
Odeon. I don't know why I said Ogden. Odeon. That makes sense. And then here in the States, I saw it's AMC is doing a cup, like a drink cup like this, and then a popcorn bucket. I might.
My local theater is Cinemark, and they're doing the cup and bucket.
Yep, Cinemark.
That's a local one, Christian, or like an AMC?
Cinemark is. We don't have any AMCs here. We have Cinemark. I know there's Cinemarks all across the U.S. though. Like the main one, I think, is in Dallas. But I've already. I don't know if y'all remember when I was commenting on the last show that we talked about this. They didn't play the Return of the Jedi in Cinemark over here last year, but I actually already bought tickets because they are playing this one.
Yeah, I saw that you got your tickets already. Yeah, I've been looking. I think because we're a few weeks out, they haven't announced it yet. Like at my local theater, usually AMC does it, but I haven't seen the tickets go up yet. But I am looking forward to seeing this in the theaters again.
Yeah,
I don't think you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I was just going to say I've got managed to get tickets at a group of friends to go. They're doing it at a few local places near me, which is handy. This will be my third time seeing it in cinemas. One of the first films I saw when I was a kid, and then I saw it when they released it in 3D.
And
then
that didn't last long.
I don't recall the 3D one. Interesting.
I do.
It was a very limited run, wasn't it, on that? Because it didn't do very well.
They did it, because Lucasfilm were going to do it for
all of them.
6, and then it was just before Disney took over. So Disney obviously didn't want to carry on doing 3D versions.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw that they're not doing it at my local theater, but that Cinemark in Texas, they're doing a 24-hour marathon of all 9 of the movies in order.
Well,
yeah, I've seen that. I think that's only happening in the US.
Yeah.
How do you know that? That's a long. So all 9, right? That's what?
Yeah. I think it said it was like 21 and a half hours.
Gosh.
Could go into pajamas.
And I don't think it was Cinemark, because like I've got Cinemarks here. Maybe it was Cinemark. There was one theater in Wisconsin that were the first to announce that they're doing the 24-hour marathon, and they're I don't know if it's a giveaway or like you have to be there to buy them. I think you have to be there to buy them. So naturally the poster freaks like me were freaking out. But there's this one small theater in Wisconsin that were doing like a quad version of this poster. So it has like the pod racers on the side and more detail, but it was almost like slightly desaturated, like a sepia tone. I don't know if that is any indication of what like Bottleneck will come up with, but I always look for stuff like that just in case it's like a sneak peek of what we expect in the future. But I think the tickets were something like $45. And so I know some people were just trying to get a ticket just to get someone to buy the poster for them. But it was weird because I don't think they were saying that there was going to be like intermissions or something like that, which you'd think, because people did that with the Avengers. And I could have sworn that when they did those Avengers marathons, they're like, hey, you're going to have like a 2-hour break here, here, and here. So you could like eat real food or like take a freaking walk, like move, like circulate your legs so you don't like die of a blood clot. Like I don't. But
I would take a break before episode 4 and after episode 6. An extended break.
Yeah, I'd take a 6-hour break inside of the original trilogy.
Basically,
so,
that is really quite. I mean, think about that. 20. That's a full day. That's exhausting.
Oh, you're going to be carrying people out of there. There's going to be There's going to be
Can't stay awake that
lawsuits.
long. I certainly couldn't.
Most people are probably, like you said,
Lord of the
most
Rings
people are
marathon.
either going to go for like the first three, the next
Mhm.
three. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not being rude, but not many are going to stay for the last. Some diehards.
Yeah.
I mean, some diehards will, but they're not. I mean, think about it. It's just, it's, you know, you got to pick your poison. And if you're already, you know, 15 hours in, it's when do you tap out? You tap out at the one you care least about, right? I mean, I would stay for The Force Awakens just because I like The Force Awakens. I'm a fan of it, but the other two is.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I am looking forward to seeing this though. I remember when this came out in theaters. I wasn't as young as like CC and Christian and whatnot, but I was still jazzed up, right? I was almost in my 20s at that point. And
Nathan just
oh yeah, Nathan too. Nathan's
Yeah. Nathan just looked.
we get three
Nathan
babies
just
and
looked
three old
on.
men. But I mean, so Tony Permit, I mean, you guys must remember, right? Being all jazzed up for this, and you kind of
Yeah,
felt like,
definitely.
I don't
Absolutely.
know.
We'd been waiting almost, a lifetime
Yeah.
for it, to be honest. It just felt like that.
Huge
I
high.
enjoyed. I mean, there was stuff like the pod race and the final battle sequence.
It was fun to see. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I think it seemed very heavy on the CGI, but it's dated by the time in which it was made.
At the
right?
time, it was phenomenal. Like
At
when
the
we
time,
saw
it
the
was
CGI
fine.
back then, it like blew my hair
Mhm.
back. I was like, "This is unlike anything I've ever seen other than Toy Story." Right? That was like the most CGI you had seen at that time. And then the thing is, they advertised Maul so much. You thought he was going to be like the new Vader, and then that didn't come. And then you had scenes like, "There's always a bigger fish," and I'm like, "Man, where are we going with this movie?" You know?
I
But
think
no,
yeah.
it was good.
I think
And
the
I'm looking
story. Yeah, I think the story. I think Parr might have mentioned it on the when we were talking about it last time. You sort of knew what was going to happen, but if it had been better directed, I'm not knocking George. He's a storyteller. I don't think he's a particularly good director, particularly of actors. But all the story pieces are there. I do like parts of like Revenge of the Sith. I think that's. That is really good. And I do like Hayden Christensen's performance in that last film as well. I think he was really good. And there are elements of this which are, action scenes which you can dip in and out of, the lightsaber battle, the pod race. I just found the dialogue really heavy. If you're a young kid watching, I don't know, those diplomatic scenes. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's just creepy, isn't it? That's just creepy.
Well, yeah, it was. It was a lot of politics.
It was
and
quite
stuff.
cheesy, some of the. Yeah,
It was-
that's the thing. Yeah, trade federations and
too much. Just too much explanations or trying to explain this sort of convoluted plot, really. And he could have probably done it a lot easier if they'd had a decent editor in there. They could have really, cut a lot of that out and made it a lot, more palatable. But I look, loads of people love it. I think all the elements are there. It's, and I've got a better appreciation of it now than I did.
I agree.
When it first came out. I mean, the CGI in the second one hasn't aged well at all, but I still like elements of episode 1 and episode 3.
And I think I've said this before. The score of the prequels is fantastic. So John Williams' score for the
Score is
entire
beautiful.
prequel trilogy is brilliant.
I
know
actually
what-
have the scores on record and CD because I enjoyed them so
Mhm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
The world building as well, is really good.
Oh, the world building is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah, they had so much more to work with then. It was really well done in that sense. There's a lot of pros and cons, right? And there's a lot of bones you could pick with this movie. You know what? One thing that really threw me off in this was that Vader built 3PO. That's still to this day, even though, like Tony mentioned,
Doesn't make
you
sense.
have a better appreciation for the movie now as it's kind of been 20 plus years, 25 years. That still doesn't click with me. It's odd.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same as Kenobi.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't seem to
basically
remember
hugging
him as a droid.
R2D2 through most of the prequel and then having no recognition of him.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't remember ordering a droid.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
he owned about 5 of them, didn't he?
and meanwhile, in the three prequels, it's like, let me tell you about my best friend. They just hang out. It's like, how do you not remember spending all this time with them?
Well, the other one, I just and I'm pretty sure this is true. He had to go back and reshoot Ewan McGregor picking up the lightsaber to take away from him. I think this just goes back to, I'm not completely sure how much George remembered from the original trilogy, but I'm pretty sure they had to do some pickup shots on quite a bit of this.
Literally a pickup shot.
It was, I think. I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know whether it's Ewan McGregor dropped it out or some, but I'm sure they had to go back and reshoot that because they completely forgot that he had to take Anakin's lightsaber back with him.
Well, everyone talks about Dave Filoni being like a positive addition to like the Star Wars lore, and I saw an interview somewhat recently. I don't think the interview was recent, but I saw it recently. It was with Sam Witwer. And he was talking about like the first time he met Dave Filoni. He was like, oh yeah, he was wearing the cowboy hat. It was great. And he just seemed like really enthusiastic about Star Wars. And they were talking about a scene from, I'd assume, Clone Wars, because Sam Witwer was Sam Witwer stuff. And it was about like Anakin having some kind of, I think I saw the episode, I can't remember which one it was, but he was having some sort of flashback to him like talking to his mom as an adult. And he's I'm sorry?
It was the Mortis arc.
Yep. Yeah. And like where he eventually had a vision of him like as Vader and all that kind of stuff, and then it disappeared, like it didn't stick or whatever. And he was talking to his mom about like, and I met this girl and she's great and you'd love her. And Sam Witwer had to be like, they've already met. They've totally already met. They totally already met in Phantom Menace. And I think they literally hugged each other. Like Padme had met Shumi, so that's not gonna work. So I thought that was quite funny that Sam Witwer was such a nerd that he had to be like, fuck, here I am, I have to tell my boss, like, you screwed up. like you need to watch Star Wars more often. But yeah, I think I will try to see this in theaters and see if I appreciate it as much, because I've put it on like at home and I never end up paying attention to it, I think, which is a shame. But
just going back on that, CC, it does make you wonder, people like George and that, because all us nerds just really dive into this stuff and pick over these films for years. And he's probably, I don't know how many times George or Dave Filoni's seen Star Wars, but I doubt very much that they're obsessing over it probably as much as, we are.
Dave is.
Dave, possibly, yeah. Dave's a fan, isn't he?
He was a Plo Koon cosplayer, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But
he went
does
to a convention as Plo Koon.
But it does make you wonder that some, there's hundreds of people probably picking over these films, trying to develop these story arcs, and they don't cross yet. There's still mistakes, even with. You look at the Kenobi show. I'm not going to go there with this, but there are sort of continuity errors in that. So, when you've got all this much content now, I guess it's really difficult. You keep crossing over, it's going to be really easy to start making continuity errors.
Right. Yeah. So I barely remember this hot toy, but I take it's from Kenobi, and it's the 501st, right?
Yeah, it's based off, because there's already a 501st hot toy, but those ones are based off Clone Wars clones, and these ones are based off like live action clones, but from the Kenobi series in the Order 66 scenes. So they're slightly different. There's a different kind of blue, and they're slightly thicker, let's say.
Dad bod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bodysuit.
Okay. Dad bod boba suits.
Yeah, it's more of
And
a
these are
dad bod.
And these are the blogger photos, so I think these have been out for a minute or available for order.
I think it came out. It's recent. It's last week, I think.
Oh,
Why don't
okay.
this is from the Kenobi series? I don't remember this.
Yeah,
It's in the
attack,
flashback
the
scenes. I
attack
think.
of the temple, isn't it?
Okay, so they're not like spread
No.
throughout the season.
No,
Right.
no.
no,
Okay.
literally on the
Order 66, where Reaver's kind of flashbacks, isn't it? I think.
Reaver
Oh, I
gets
do
stabbed
remember that now.
the second time.
Okay. Not to jump off track, but I'm sure you saw it, Nathan, the Umbra Arc Trooper, the black and yellow.
The yellow one.
I believe
That's
we
next.
might. Are we going to be talking about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
that thing is nasty.
Yeah, I've got.
You guys are gonna have to help me though, because I don't know what the fuck that character is at all.
Well,
Is it
From
from a game?
Battlefront. Mhm.
Okay, that would,
It's just a
I am
skin
gonna
from a
pull-
game.
I am gonna pull Steve though and question if, like, obviously this is all gonna be the same, like weathering on
Yeah.
every
It
figure.
will be. They're
Yeah, if
printed.
you army
They're
builds, then
printed.
yeah, you're probably most likely gonna have the same. Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah,
did
they look. I mean,
contemplate
yeah,
buying one, but I don't think it will go with the other clones because they're like live action interpretations of Clone Wars clones rather than actual live action clones. So I think they'd be accurate to the films and the series, but not. They wouldn't go well with the other clones from Hot Toys. Let's say.
I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Are you getting this, Nathan?
I did contemplate it, but I've already got like 4 Five First clones anyway, so I don't think I really need. I did contemplate it, but I think because the blue's off, it will look like it's a very light blue compared to the sort of more royal blue color of the other ones.
Nathan, with the clones, the only thing that variates them is the way their armor's endowed, right? Like the color, the striping, the detail. Otherwise, like they're all like, what differs them from a regular stormtrooper when they have the variations in colors and such?
As what in terms of the armor or the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the armor is completely different, but then obviously, yeah, they've got for the different legions, you've got, blue for the 501st and orange for the 212th and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, so that's the relation.
Yeah, so I think the only obviously with stormtroopers, it's mainly just white and the odd black one.
Nathan, did you collect the Bad Batch clones? Do you have this
I have,
set?
yeah, I've got them. Still waiting on tech.
Mm-hmm.
But was almost convinced to sell Crosshair because he's tripled in price. So,
yeah, is it just Crosshair that's tripled in price? Because I thought quite a few of them were
Wrecker
up
has
there.
doubled, I think, but not.
Mhm.
Yeah, Crosshair's the reason why Crosshair's gone so far up because he's come back with his original armor. Whereas the rest of them have changed their armor.
They changed, didn't they? Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah, so yeah, I was contemplating, but then if I sell him, then I have to sell.
You have to sell a lot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you
I think you should keep them.
So
does
anybody get the feeling that he looks kind of sad in this?
I don't know what he looks. He looks confused.
I don't see that, but maybe
He looks
I don't know.
he looks upset, like he's gonna cry or something. I don't know. That looks like a school photo, doesn't it?
He looks embarrassed.
Yeah.
He's done something wrong, right? He's done something. He's been caught. His mum's just caught him doing something.
I think it. I mean, I know
His mum's dead, Pog.
even more so why he's got that face. A ghost has appeared, catching him doing something.
It's an amazing likeness, but I've really
it's a difficult one to pose. That's the problem. When you have an expression like that, you can't really put him in an action pose, right? You can't put him in anything dynamic.
He doesn't look serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like he's having it's a still from that scene, isn't it? So it looks like he's talking to Ahsoka, but yeah, it's not. I know what you mean. Like it might look odd if you're trying to have him in some sort of pose. But
But it's a shame because the sculpt is very good.
Great, yeah,
It-
great,
it-
great.
it's
The
a
good
good
part is
sculpt. It's
he
just
looks dead on. It's
Yeah.
an amazing
Yeah.
sculpt.
I think
Just the
it's one of the
expression just
best
makes it
rooted
difficult.
hair sculpts Hot Toys
Yeah.
has done.
Yeah, it is. That's good.
It looked like it was. No, sorry, it looked like it was rooted, not sculpted.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. Christian, do you do I forgot to ask. Do you have any Hot Toys?
I ended up selling all the ones I had. I don't know if you remember me telling you. I had started collecting them, and I had like the Avengers ones from Endgame, and then I was collecting the full Mandalorian line, but then I was like, I gotta focus on just one or two things. This is getting to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Any
rabbit
interest
hole
in
for
any of
sure.
the newer ones?
Do what?
Any interest in any of the newer ones?
I can appreciate them and you know the sculpts and everything, but not really for me in the future. Looking at getting any back into Hot Toys right now.
Yeah. The same way. Every time I look at them, I'm like, oh, that looks so good, but then I just can't pull the trigger, especially now they make so many of them. You know.
I'm just sticking to the OT. So thankfully, there's only 2 or 3 OT ones yet to come that have been announced. And
Are you getting the? I think we talked about it last time, actually, didn't we? Are you getting the Han?
yeah,
Although it's not Empire Han.
no, but it's still Return of the Jedi. It's still based on a vintage figure that I used to own.
Yeah.
So yeah, it hits the right buttons for me.
Good.
I don't mean to interject, but ladies and gentlemen, I gotta part ways for the evening. I will try to continue listening, but just want to say goodnight and thanks for having me. And everybody, thanks for joining. Christian, thanks for joining. I hope you kick back and continue to chat. Nathan, Parmendo, Tony, I will I'll catch up with you guys soon. Okay.
Yeah,
For sure. Take care, mate. Talk soon.
Take care.
Have a good night, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Hey.
Cece, I'll shoot you a message later. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Bye for now.
Cool. Bye.
See ya.
Right.
See, if you look at it now, this is what Palm was saying. He's not. It's not even really an action pose, is it? But look at his face. It's
Just look at his face. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know if we really saw him in many action scenes other than the ones where he was like attacking adult Ahsoka, in which case he looked to me more
He was.
Revenge
It
of
was
the Sith.
different. Anakin, anyway, wasn't it? It was.
Difference. We had the
Yeah. So I think the facial expression makes sense to me based on what we saw in the episode, but I could see from like a posing perspective, you're kind of stuck in something a bit more stoic.
The outfit looks great.
I think we saw him, like he was running and fighting, but we saw the back of him, where it was mainly focused just on Ahsoka until they started talking. From what I remember, anyway. Yeah, the outfit it's one of my because I've got I wore it at Celebration.
Yeah. You cosplayed, right?
Say again?
You cosplayed as this dude.
Yeah, cosplayed. Yeah, there's a lovely picture of us, Parmendo, of me wearing.
I know. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, because obviously Hot Toys already released Clone Wars sort of version of this.
Yeah.
So I was contemplating, should I just keep the one I have because I really like the one I have. But I think because this one looks just like Hayden Christensen, I feel like it makes it. It basically gets all over the other sculpt. Let's say. So it's almost like the outfit's slightly different, but on the whole, it's pretty much the same. And
do you have the artisan one on order? Did you get in on that?
Yes and no. I have it on order with a
not Toys Wonderland.
Not Toys Wonderland. No, but someone like that. Yeah. Okay. So I was told I have it, but until I get it in hand,
Sure.
I don't actually have it.
Fair enough.
But
Understood.
I really want that Anakin,
Mhm.
because Anakin's my guy. So
Sure.
The just a couple of shots back, CC, where you got Rex. Is it Rex in there? That environment hologram stand, is that coming with anything, or is that just something they're teasing?
no, I think it's. I don't know if it's actually something they've made, but it looks like something. I've got one of my dioramas is set up. I've used the holo table from the Obi-Wan figure. I'm
Mhm.
probably like the only person that actually displays their Hot Toys holograms. I've got all the clones around it like that. But
Oh, you're hardcore, man.
yeah,
they never left the box.
no, I mean,
Right.
yeah.
I don't know if they'd make this. I think Hot Toys are pretty like par for the course on teasing stuff like this, but then not producing it.
I'd buy this though if it came with. I'd probably buy this. But that
With this lighting,
I would
his
have
face.
those three. Sorry.
In this lighting, his face looks not as sad. I feel like it makes sense for the scene, but
Yeah, it makes sense for that scene, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I do love the armor on this version of Anakin. I do like it. I think it's really cool. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
It's a great sculpt. It is a great sculpt.
Oh yeah, I just think the expression makes it difficult for you to pose it in far too many dynamic. I think it's a little bit like the Han Solo smirking pose. When they did the stormtrooper disguise.
Yeah.
Just difficult to put him in a dynamic pose.
Then it's kind of a bit like Clone Wars Anakin. He's kind of having a laugh when he's fighting. Really, he doesn't really take anything too seriously. So, unless he gets angry, obviously, but half the time, especially during the early seasons of the Clone Wars, he's just sort of having a laugh and mucking around. Really, so it could work, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, perhaps. And these blogger photos sometimes, or these promo pictures, I guess, they don't often
that looks good.
Show him.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's quite good. It's good pose.
All right, let's go to the one I don't understand.
So yeah, this is a.
Is this out of Battlefront or something? Or am I?
Yeah, Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, yeah. This is random special edition one, and they just randomly released it. Well, they announced it, and then 2 days later, it was out in Hong Kong, and it was a shit show, basically.
Lottery, wasn't it? Because there was only 1,500 of these that they were making, and they did. I think Sideshow did a lottery.
Yeah, Sideshow had about 10 on their website.
Right.
It was.
Yeah, you had to go to a Hong Kong retailer to get this, I think.
Well, I messaged I won't name names, but I messaged one person to secure the bag, let's say, and then he then messaged me back like the next morning, and he was like, "I can still get it for you, but it's going to cost you
twice as much."
Well, more. I won't say the price because my girlfriend might be watching. So, but yeah, he said it was going to be a lot more than we already paid him the money. And I was like, no, I'll get a refund because I saw it somewhere else for cheaper. But it was very annoying.
Is this code for you got it, Nath, or you haven't got it, or you have got it? Wow, there you go.
Put them on full screen.
Have you told your girlfriend you got that?
Let's check this out.
Well, I mean, she didn't know the hype about it, but yeah, it's
cool.
It's a pretty cool trooper. The downside, like obviously you can add things and stuff, but it comes with 3 different helmets. But you can only have one trooper, so it's like the Hot Toys are a bit stupid. Why they limited this and then offered 3 different types of helmets? Because I mean, I don't think I would have got 3, but I may have considered buying 2. But I'm sure a lot of people would have bought multiples.
Yeah, I've seen a few people had multiples actually, and I was quite surprised to see people actually grab more than one, given the limited nature of the release.
But then there was these I don't know if you saw the pictures, but there was like pictures from Hong Kong, and there was this like one guy standing next to a pile of like 20 of them.
Right. Fair enough.
And then these like people are getting like these are like they paid like these old ladies to stand in line to queue up, and these just little old like Chinese ladies just waiting in line to get some toys.
Where you going? Where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
Waiting in line for some
that's what got
figurine.
some of these quote unquote retailers in trouble. Was that's basically what they do, is they just they end up standing.
yeah.
I'm surprised I got it so fast, but also I'm pretty ignorant. I didn't realize that they were like already produced or whatever. I was used to Hot Toys taking so long by the time you order them from the time you get them.
That's normally what happens.
Usually, this is a special edition, so they do it on a few ones. Like there's like a Toy Fair exclusive or something. I think they do it for like the Armorer was one or something. But yeah, they basically announce it, and then like a week or so later, it's shipping. So that was one of the reasons I was hyped for it, because I was like,
so is this in the recent DICE Battlefront 2 game? Because I've played Battlefront 2 a lot, and I've never come across this character.
Yeah, well, if I'm honest, mate, I hadn't seen it either.
No.
I just like the look of it. But yeah, I played a lot of Battlefront 2 during lockdown.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've played since then.
There's a lot more people on it now, actually, because I was on it the other day, and there's a lot of people. I think what's happened is because they announced the original Battlefront games, and people bought them, and that was a massive shit show apparently.
I bought it and played it a little bit, but
yeah, and I think that basically caused people to go back to the DICE games. So you go on now, and you can actually get on to quite a few multiplayer games.
But then I've got it on my PS4, so it would mean I have to go, back
There's
to
probably
the old.
3 people on that, isn't there? On
Yeah.
PS4.
I've still got my PS. I still play on my PS4.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I just thought it looked really cool. There's the colors, just even though it's black, the yellow just pops on my shelf.
Yeah, the colors are cool.
And this is something that because it literally is. It's basically Jesse sculpt armor, let's say.
Yeah, with the visor. Yeah.
Jesse, the ARC Trooper. So they could do this for multiple different colors and stuff.
The helmet does look cool. It looks very skull-like to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because the other helmet is, I think you have it. There's a Phase 1 and the Cody kind of style one, the Commander one. But yeah, this was the favorite. So I was going to pick one to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. Don't know if it was. I think it was worth the hassle, but also, yeah, like that looks really cool as well. But why they can? Yeah, I definitely probably would have bought 2 and just displayed them differently. Yeah, they missed out on that Hot Toys. But
and how much are these now going for on the aftermarket, Nathan?
I haven't checked. I don't know. Like I think they went down a bit straight away because the hype sort of went out. But obviously, it's only been a few weeks. But I'd say I haven't actually checked, but I think it's probably still up there. Like I said, I'm gonna refrain from saying an actual price because
understood. I'll do my own research, Nathan. Don't worry.
I'm kidding. I'm sure she's not bothered.
It's going. I'm looking now.
Don't say the number. You'll get him.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
It's like a little less than premium format money. Like Sideshow premium format money. Is that? Is that a good benchmark? We got to think of better ways to gaslight your spouses and shit, because that's not.
I won it in a raffle.
My wife doesn't watch this. You can say what you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
No.
And I'll segue from this to something I know Nathan was excited about, and actually I was surprised at how many people were excited about this. And then, and I think I've got one more art print news, and then we could talk whatever. So these were released the other day, I forget when, through Bottleneck Gallery by artist Pablo Oliveira. And I was, like I said, I was actually pretty surprised at how popular they were. And Nathan and I talked about this. The one thing that people weren't too jazzed about was that they were sold as sets only. So I was trying to find the regular. Yeah, this one. So you had to buy all three. There wasn't the option to get them individually. And just so I don't lose the original trilogy collectors on the show, he did the original trilogy several years ago, and I could have sworn those were offered individually and as sets, but maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly.
Yeah, they were offered individually in sets. I think that was the one with the Millennium Falcon was one of them, wasn't it? I do remember that, the landing docking bay, wasn't it? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the AT-AT, I want to say on
that's
Hawk.
right. Yeah.
Because I think Michael from NYC, I had tried helping him find the one he was missing for a very long time. So that to me indicated that they were offered individually as opposed to as sets. Because those ones, if people do let them go, it tends to be the foil ones, the ones that are like, they're quite metallic, not the ink, but the paper. So they're quite shiny all the way through. It's not like strategically placed. And I'm not a huge fan of those, but Pablo Oliveira, his variants tend to be that way. Matt has one in his hallway that's quite shiny. But these ones, they didn't do the foil treatment. Instead, this was the regular, that kind of like pinky tone was the variant. Nope, wrong way. This one was one of the variants. And then the title, this one here, I don't know why it's not staying zoomed. So this one just had the similar color tone to the original, I think just a little more muted, and then it had this small title in the corner. But I got the regular, I think a few people I know got the kind of pinky tone variants, but I know a lot of people were devastated about not being able to buy them individually. I did confirm with Bottleneck before they sold out or before they went up that they were not going to be selling these individually, even when they sell artist proofs later. So I was like, hey, if you are keen on one of them, just get the set and gift the other ones or sell them or whatnot. And Nathan was one of the people who reached out to me like 3 minutes after a friend had asked for my episode 2. So he missed out.
I was glad about because the episode 2 one was the one I wanted, and when you said that was the one you didn't want, I was like, oh my god, that'd be awesome. But yeah, someone got there just before me.
Yeah.
Did you get any of these, Nathan?
I got the standard one. I mean, I did say to myself I would just keep the one because they are quite big, and I don't know if you can tell, but I am running out of space for art print. But I know that when I get them, I'll probably be like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
They look great. They look great, don't they? They look
There's
really
some
good.
cool like scenes.
I like the Jedi Council one. I think that's really cool. I think that's actually
that's my favorite. I think of the three.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Yeah, it looks really good. Looks really good.
Well, I'll have one to sell if you want it.
No,
I'm not that. Yeah, you know.
You love the Phantom Menace. You were just saying how much you love it.
I had prequel Hot Toys and stuff. I just have to focus. That's the only real reason that I feign not being interested in prequel stuff. I actually do enjoy some of the prequel stuff, to be fair, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the animated stuff, Clone Wars, and but just another space to collect everything. So
well, yeah, both of you don't really have the real estate to collect art prints in the first place.
That's
honestly.
yeah. I have a big
Yeah.
problem with that as well. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to.
I don't
I'd love
I don't
to.
have as much wall space for the prints either. Cece,
No,
earlier you said
no,
something about the prints behind me.
yeah,
My,
like
my my mom is actually an artist, and I have another
Oh,
painting
cool.
of Mandalorian that she did. I'll have to try to get you a picture sometime. But I actually started ordering the prints based off of one of y'all's old shows. There were some prints that you showed from Bottleneck, so I actually have several of them that are still in the tubes, and I don't have room for them.
yeah,
That's the problem, isn't it?
it's far
These are
easier
huge,
to
aren't they?
buy art prints than it is to like display
Mhm.
them, frame them, all that good stuff. But at
I mean,
least
they
like
invariably take up more space than a prop replica, right? And you know, the amount of wall space you need for probably put a shelf up and have a ton of replicas in that same space.
Yeah, so
So
currently I just have the one my mom did. I have four of Marcel's prints framed, and then the Leia by Olivia, the sideshow one.
okay,
Yeah.
that one's hard to find.
mm,
Like when you can find it, that one's a beast. That one and the Joker she did years ago um
Yeah,
are difficult. Is it the Tears of Alderaan or the one with where she's in the white or the
the one in the white, the Princess of
okay.
Alderaan.
Yeah, that one's tricky. Um yeah, I have had that thought where I have so many art prints, I gotta be conscious of like where my shelving starts so I don't like impede on what's on my walls. But
mhm.
I think of it differently. Maybe it's because I do have the luxury of, I mean, I don't now, but like when I first moved into this apartment, I was like, I have really good real estate when it comes to walls and being able to display the art prints because I have 11-foot tall ceilings and one wall in my living room is 28 feet wide. And
Stop
it's
showing off.
covered, yeah, it's it's covered in art, but like what I don't have is square footage. So it's
Right.
like it's easier for me to do that than it is to have like a bunch
Mhm.
of shelf units or whatever um to have props and things. So and like what I tell people, like Christian, I don't know if you've considered it or if Jason said anything, but like I tell people because I did it for years when I didn't have room to display art prints. Um, they could live in portfolios. Like you
Hmm.
don't have to have a flat file. Like they could be in these like, bougie, basically binders and be kept safe until you have time to display them. These ones are 12 inches tall and 36 inches wide, which is pretty typical of like any of the major big posters. But my favorite, I agree, it was the episode 1. I still like episode 3 because I kind of like the like alpha and omega idea of like where he started and where it ended with our story of Anakin versus Vader. Um, so I'm probably gonna end up keeping 1 and 2, and then like I said, my friend Danny Lee is getting the third one. But like I think if anyone's like wants any of these, I think a lot of people are going to end up parsing these out because it also kind of helps with the cost. I think these end up being like $48 like US each with ship. I think that included shipping. I can't remember, which is pretty typical. So again, like if you don't want one of them, you could always sell it or gift it or whatnot. But and these lasted a good amount of while. Like I think they were available for like 5 minutes, which for Bottleneck is pretty good. So I think people who wanted them did get them. It wasn't like a bloodbath. But speaking of bloodbath, and sorry, it's
Now
not
this I
real,
like.
but
Oh,
This I
yeah.
really
I'm
like.
gutted I didn't get this.
So Nathan, you're on my list, and then there's another friend who didn't get it that I'm like, and there's actually a third person now who I'm looking out for, who didn't get this because it was a bloodbath. Like I think it was a last minute decision for them to do. This was the variant which had the title on it. So this one they did oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The variant didn't have the title. So this one was 40 of this kind of like almost like comic book version variant where it didn't have the title, and then the titled one was 250. The Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones were 200. So they made the decision to up it to 250, and I think because they understood it was going to be so popular. But I did hear from Chris, and he told me I'm free to say this on the show. They're expecting the artist proofs to go up towards the end of the month. I don't know if that's May the 4th, because part of me thinks that would make sense, because they tend to kind of rope the Star Wars releases together if they did like Matt Ferguson's prints around the same time as the artist proofs for these. I don't know how many they would have, but basically because Chris Valentine's in South Africa, instead of sending him the allocation of artist proofs, they're going to sell them through Bottleneck. So I'll post in the group as we get closer to, and I get like an actual date out of people, hopefully, when they'll be available, and try my best with the people who missed out. But I did want to say something today, because I don't know if we're going to be able to do any kind of show between now and closer towards the end of the month. Because yeah, I think people who even, it's not maybe not sacrilege, but like even original trilogy folks really liked the look of this one. And I tell Chris Valentine all the time that he really needs to start working on the original trilogy. I'd love for him to do. I'd be super thrilled to see what he comes up with. They are beast. Like they would still be the 24 by 36. But yeah, I think his style is just great, and this came out amazing.
Yeah, if he goes down the OT with this style, I'd be very tempted.
Yeah, one of my prints that are still in the tube is one of his Rogue One he did.
Yeah. So that, like, I knew his work from a Dark Knight poster he did a few years before that with Bottleneck, because Bottleneck, I talk about them a lot. They have a lot of my money. I've been a customer of theirs for a long time, and that Rogue One, I think a ton of people, like, it put his name on the map with them because of how well received that Rogue One was. And it was funny, he sent me pictures. He had his car wrapped with a lot of the art from that Rogue One. So if you're ever in South Africa and see a car with like his artwork, it's the Rogue One poster. That's Chris Valentine. I thought it was really cool, but he did it to advertise his artwork, and I think it looks awesome. But yeah, that's a beautiful one too. That I'm dedicating like a hallway to my little like Rogue One section. But that's all I had for like
the real estate issue. You know, you said you got a long living room wall in your hallway. I'm only allowed to use one room in my house for this stuff. So.
Well, you're preaching to the choir, except for maybe Nathan. I don't know Nathan's living situation, but Tony, like, I'm concerned for him all the time. But how he talks about like his wife's appreciation for his collecting. Like, if
she doesn't appreciate it, CC.
That's what I mean.
What's the opposite of appreciation? Contempt.
I feel like if something happens, like you get buried under your collection, we're gonna know it's not an accident. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It could happen live on air as well. That's even more worrying. But well, it'll be entertaining for you anyway. But but yeah, no, well, particularly in the UK, we just struggle with space. You know, it's there's only so much we can fit into these rooms, and we're fighting already, aren't we, Palm? We're in a process of trying to, everything we got now we want to keep, and we're having to sort of sell stuff. So it's not great. I wish I had the space Nathan's got. I mean, you could. Well, that looks like that's 40 feet away from you, that detail.
The thing is that. Yeah, but this is the problem. So my.
Is this your overflow room?
This is my living room. This is not. I had a flat and I had a games room, and then that had all my collection and stuff in it. And I moved out of that flat, and I moved here. I'm in my my grandparents' annex because that, you know, I'm cool. I'm a 31-year-old that lives in his grandparents' annex with his Star Wars collection. So
I thought you were going to say that you're at your grandparents' house and you've removed all their furniture, forced them into a smaller room.
There was some of their furniture in here, and it was moved out. But yeah, I mean, I obviously am very lucky to have this space, but I would like to have it separate from my living room, but
Mhm.
I tried to keep it all there, but then it all just sort of slowly
It looks
comes
great,
down.
mate. It looks really good. I've got to say the lit detox cabinets are really
Yeah.
do look
Yeah,
amazing.
thank
Your
you.
dioramas are great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Does
Yeah,
look good. Does look really good.
The one on the end, I've finally had to go for a bit of a, because obviously IKEA have stopped doing the details full stop.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
a few years ago, they stopped doing the black ones
Mhm.
and only did the white ones. So I bought white ones and then painted them, but it's not just like a flat black. It's like a special IKEA mix of like black and brown. So I
Yeah.
had to get the paint specially mixed. So I painted a couple of them, but then I lost the paint when I moved. So I've had to go back and I had to find some IKEA shelves to go and get scanned at B&Q, and then they mixed the paint. It was a whole hassle. It was a whole thing, but I've got that now. So my remaining white shelf is going to have some lights in it, and it'll be matching.
B&Q is our Home Depot.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I think I've heard of it before.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah,
'cause I
there
had this-
were two faces that just went really blank then.
What?
when
Yeah,
you said
like
that.
B&Q.
So it's just- yeah.
I
I
understand
just-
now.
Sorry.
big rivalry with Jeff Sage as far as like Team White Besta and Team Black Besta, and he just got rid of all of his White Bestas.
Mhm.
So I'm just like RIP Team White Besta. Like what the hell? Like he just went to garage shelving because again we're all running out of space. And I want to talk. I've got like one Besta unit, and it happens to be that like black brown that you were talking about. But yeah, I think, and it would be. I'd like to do more like collection tours videos, like showing people spaces, because I feel like it's either one or the other. Like you either are like a unicorn and you could put things wherever the fuck you want, or you're like limited to like one room, or you're like Steve and you've got a basement, and so it's one room, but it's like the size of my apartment, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just to see how people manage to fit things. So I go through that all the time where I'm like, okay, my collection mainly it's in this room, but it's also my living room. So like I have to, and then Matt makes fun of me and says like, just sell your bed or something so you can just sleep on your couch so you have more space.
Well, yeah, absolutely,
Bad idea.
Stacey.
Simple.
I'll just get right on that. Yeah, in a jiffy.
I mean, I've got to say, just talking to Jeff, I did see his new layout on Hector's
Mhm.
IWI.
Live stream.
He's done it's a fantastic collection.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's done a great job with that. He really has done a great job with that. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. But he's there's a few people that have done that recently. They've just completely, Christian on our group has, he's gone through he culled a lot of his collection and he's just rebuilt it again. Jeff's done the same, and I think I'll be living with Dave Toffs for the rest of my life. But no, it's interesting to see what people do with their displays. Actually, it's a lot of the groups you get a lot of inspiration from.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I said we could do this if we had time, and if you guys feel up to it, we can talk about the. I don't know if I want to show it because of copyright and all that kind of stuff, even if I don't have the audio. But act light.
Yeah.
Don't go get too excited now because I said acolyte, but I am on the fence still. I don't know what it is, but there wasn't anything terribly interesting in the trailer, in my opinion, that had me like super excited, which sucks because on paper I was very excited. It seemed darker in tone, and then with that teaser trailer, like that teaser poster was a lightsaber hilt with what looks like blood on it, and I was like, this is exciting. And then we get the trailer and it seems like vanilla and almost family friendly.
So do you remember that trailer for a video game called Eclipse?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was going to be set, if I remember correctly, around the same time frame as what Acolyte is being set in. And in my mind, I was expecting it to look like that. And I was actually quite excited by the game, which is now being cancelled, I think. So when I saw the trailer, I was underwhelmed because it looked nothing like what I thought it would be. But in my mind, I was expecting it to be similar to what we saw in the trailer for Eclipse. But yeah, it was underwhelming. But I'd reserve judgment like most people would, I think, or should, I think, given it was just a teaser trailer. But I'm
I'm the same. I think. It's certainly interesting. I mean, it's good that they're doing it in a different time period. The trailer, it felt to me like it looked like a bit like a fan film. But I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I'll always be optimistic because it's Star Wars. But Disney, for me, most of the time, the writings let these shows down. Again, it's just my opinion. I know a lot of people love the content that they're kicking out, but I'm interested in the time in the time frame where this is set. So I'm hopeful it's going to be good. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed. What I saw in the trailer, it just looked too clean. This is the problem I've got with some of these shows. A lot of this, there's no. Even the grime and stuff that they apply on some of these props, and so it just looks way too clean. And I know some of the shows like Kenobi were constrained with the COVID pandemic, and they had to film in the volume, and some of that just didn't look quite right to me. And I think I keep going back to Andor, but live sets, actual sets, sorry. Filmed out of a studio environment, I think is definitely like the original films were done. I think is the way that they perhaps need to do. I know it's more expensive, but I'm sure they can find a way of, if Andor's got the budget, why can't these others have the same? Because I think the Acolyte is filmed. A lot of it was filmed in the UK, so I don't know if that was filmed using volume technology or not, or whether it's
mostly location, Tony.
Okay, so I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to be optimistic that it's going to be decent.
Yeah,
I agree with everything you said regarding the cleanliness of everything. And the only thing I could in my mind, just to excuse it a bit, I'm still gonna watch it because we all drink the Kool-Aid. I'll watch it, but the only thing I could think of is if they're trying to give us the impression that this is the height of the Republic, that everything is great, hunky dory. We've never seen Star Wars really any of those universes without kind of strife or some kind of conflict going on. When you think of Andor, it was in the depths of the Empire. So that's why I think the streets look dirty, the people look tired, they're overworked. It's basically slave labor. Some of these areas, I almost wonder if that's why they're trying to show us the complete opposite with Acolyte, and the start of the dark side coming forth or what have you. But Nathan, how did you feel about it?
I was obviously underwhelmed, but my thought is, obviously I did think it was going to be more. I thought the whole thing of the concept of this was going to be, it was going to be more dark side, it's going to be a more darker thing. But I'm hoping they obviously, as it was just a teaser trailer, they've just held back lots of that, because quite a lot of the trailer was heavily Jedi involved, whereas I was hoping to see. I love the Jedi as much as the next person, but I think it's about time we had a darker sort of Sith or dark side series, and hopefully they've just held some of that stuff back for the trailer.
I think the other thing as well, the other thing that people are a bit concerned about is because Disney does what they do well, and Lucasfilm do really well, is trailers. Even in the sequel trilogy, which I'm not the biggest fan of, some of the trailers they did, the teaser trailers are really well done. This one just seemed a little bit I don't know, just didn't quite hit for me. But even the other TV shows that they've done sort of little trailers on have been very well put together. But I'm still hopeful. I just hope the Wookiee that's in it is not related to Chewie. I just hope they don't do anything like this. Like this is Chewie's uncle in a pair of hockey pants or something. He's a Jedi, isn't he? Or a I think is he a Force wielder or something? Yeah. So
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to cut you off or anything, but I'm actually going to have to run too. I was lucky to be able to do it at this time today, but I just wanted to say that I appreciate y'all having me, and it was nice to meet everyone.
It was lovely
great
to meet you,
mate.
Christian. Yeah, and you.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All the
Have a
best,
good one.
mate.
Cool.
Bye.
Y'all too.
Thanks, mate.
Let me do this because I don't know if he knows how to. Okay. Did you see the meme where the voiceover when they're all the Padawans, and she's like, "Now close your eyes," and they
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like the
and there's an
giant
alien who
who's got like couple lenses, and it's like I fucking can't. Like, I just
it's quite
that-
funny. But I mean, that's no different to Greedo, right? I mean, all those
Yeah, that's true.
masks that they had in the original trilogy. I mean, I don't think the Ewoks could blink either, could they? I think George Lucas wanted them to blink, but they couldn't get the tech to work. So they remained wide-eyed until the special editions, I think. Did they get them to blink in the special editions? I can't remember now.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
But that was after the fact. But yeah, I saw that meme as well. I thought that was quite funny.
But I agree. I'm a little concerned just because, like, even the Phantom Menace trailer, people talk about when they talk about movies, the trailers are better than the actual film. They mention Phantom Menace quite a bit.
That is one of the best Star Wars trailers. Full stop for me. That yeah.
Darth Maul igniting that lightsaber, right? I mean, I think that probably caused the most excitement that anybody had felt since the original trilogy. It was incredible.
Even like the Rise of Skywalker, that trailer when Rey flipped back to the backflip over ship, and I thought that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then the film.
Well, even we were talking earlier about The Force Awakens, and like I don't know if it was just Phantom Menace wasn't on my radar. Like I kind of understood how excited everyone else was for Phantom Menace, but I was just like, it's a movie. Like I didn't understand the totality of what it was. I was just like, oh, it's another Star Wars movie. Like,
well,
we thought there was never going to be another Star Wars. After the original trilogy, it was, and even when they released some of the novels in the early 90s, there was really no hint of something new coming. There was some kind of, because I was subscribed to Lucasfilm fan magazine that turned into Star Wars Insider, and there was some talk about it, but they were focusing primarily on the special editions rather than talking a lot about the prequels. So yeah, I think a lot of people didn't expect it, and then suddenly when it was announced, it was huge.
Well, I literally when that was announced, that was the first time I'd watched Star Wars, because my dad was like, "Oh, you need to see these films before we go and see the new one," and I was so that was the first time I'd watched Star Wars when I was like 7 or something, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely, it's the best age to watch them.
No, I think the special editions were, for me, he was just lining us up for the prequels, wasn't he? I mean, he was tinkering around with them, and then a lot of that technology was just tested out on those special editions 2 years before, wasn't it? And then but yeah, that was such a tease, the Phantom Menace trailer. I remember when that came out. I think it was on ITV. You had to get up at 2 a.m. or something just to videotape it. And I remember doing that, and me and my father were watching it over and over again, because it's such a. I'd watch it now, and I just can't believe that the film for me was just at the time was really disappointing, but the trailer was fantastic, and I think that that's something they do really well Lucasfilm is they do set you up with the trailers. Even the Force Awakens ones I thought were excellent.
Yeah,
really good.
The whole
really
Chewie home scene was it was pretty emotional.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, really good.
That's the only thing I could. Not that I want to throw it in everyone's face that I'm younger than everyone here, besides Nathan.
Oh, do it.
But
We're the young ones, Lucy.
but like people always ask me like how I got into Star Wars and like Star Wars collecting, and like I don't think I would be the Star Wars fan I am if it wasn't for Force Awakens. So like people can talk shit about Disney all they want, but like I'd be a much richer person financially and physically probably if I wasn't like if it wasn't for the Force Awakens. And I remember feeling that way about the trailer, like Vader's helmet, the melted one, like the Pyre one, chills. Like Captain Phasma looked badass, and we all know what happened with that. But seeing her like walk down that Star Destroyer, like the runway kind of thing with her cape, I was like, what is that? And then yes, but yeah, we'll see with that flight.
I think you're spot on, Cece. I mean, that's a really good point that you've come out with, and that's something that I don't think about. And people mine and Palm's age are probably the worst because we grew up with the originals, so we sort of feel like we're sort of more emotionally connected to the franchise, and that's not true at all. Star Wars, whatever your Star Wars is your Star Wars. There's a whole generation that were kids like you guys were when the prequels came out, and that is their Star Wars. The original trilogies seems dated. If you look at a generation now that watch the sequels and they watch the original trilogy, I've seen videos on YouTube and that they just, they just think it just looks weird or old, which they are. But just because we grew up with the original films doesn't mean, just because we don't like these newer ones, that means that they're bad. It's just they hit us at
impressionable
all these
age.
films, 7 or 8, all this stuff sticks. And it's the same with the prequels, and there'll be a whole generation, whether we like it or not, of sequel fans that would have enjoyed those films.
Well, look at what's happened with my generation with the prequels. Like you've got like Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor. They're coming out and they're coming to Star Wars Celebration and conventions and stuff because they used to think people hated them, but in fact, the kids that grew up with those films, love them. And Anakin's always been my guy, and now he's getting the love he deserves.
I mean, you're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. I think the re-release of these films, the cinemas will be packed, and it will be people in their 30s that are kids that were kids at the time that will be going to see it.
Well, I so just after Christmas, I went to see Empire Strikes Back with my girlfriend's dad, who's he was a massive fan of the original trilogy, and so I asked him again if he wanted to come to watch The Phantom Menace with me, and he was like, "No, I'm all right." so yeah, well, I'm going with my brother and a group of friends, which is going to be fun. We're
Are you dressing up? Are you going to dress up, Nathan? Are you going to cosplay?
No, probably not. I don't know, maybe. As who? As Jar Jar?
Yeah. Okay. I will say, not that you guys are terribly local. I am American and I was educated in the American South, so I'm not great with geography, but I think it's quite a trek for you guys. But Matt Ferguson is doing a poster signing in Sheffield.
Mm-hmm. Sheffield,
at his local, is it
Odeon?
Okay. Because I saw he had posted a picture and he had sent it to me of him next to like a 6.5, like I think it was a little over 6 foot tall version of the Phantom Menace poster. Yeah. And I was like, you need to steal that, because he had shown me one he stole at a signing he did last year for Return of the Jedi. And he was like, that's in my living room. Like that's
really?
Like, that's in my dining room. I already have it. Like they sent it to me. So I thought that was really cool to see. So it is kind of nice that like as much as we could like look back on Phantom Menace and it not be like the it didn't live up to the hype as the trailer, which is the whole reason why we got on this point was with Acolyte. But I think it's exciting to see the shoe on the other foot with like Nathan and I's generation, because we hear you guys, no offense, talk all the time about the original trilogy. Because it was like, hey, we didn't care what it looked like. It just looked really freaking cool. Like the effects, I think things will always be timeless.
It was groundbreaking as well. I think there was really nothing like, in terms of effects, or even just storytelling. There really wasn't anything like that prior to Star Wars, which is why it was not just the fact it was Star Wars. It was just so pivotal in cinema, and we just happened to be in that vicinity when that happened. When Phantom Menace came out, we were at the cusp of CGI. We'd seen Jurassic Park, and so I think the idea of a blockbuster movie or a series of movies we were kind of used to, whereas with Star Wars, other than I guess that Planet of the Apes and stuff, there really wasn't anything like like that. So
I don't think our generation was wowed by the effects because
you were used to it.
Yeah, we're too young to recognize it, or we're used to it already. So it would have had to been the storytelling, or the characters, or the designs to really, I think, get us. And I think they did kind of nail that with the toys and with Maul and with the double-sided lightsaber. Like I remember, you watch reaction videos now of people watching that trailer in theaters and uses their fucking minds when that double-sided lightsaber comes out. So
absolutely,
yeah.
I think as well, like that's the big thing for me was the toys. That's what got me into it, and I think
that's what got us the original trilogy guys into it as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So which is, and I think that's what you said earlier about the Force Awakens CC is that when I was about 15, I was convinced to sell all my old Star Wars toys, so I only had a handful of things left. So when the Force Awakens came out, I got the odd bit here and there. And then as time went on, I started collecting more. And now I'm at this point. So I think the Force Awakens, like you said, CC, although it wasn't everyone's favourite film, it definitely reignited the love of Star Wars.
I agree. I think that happened across the board, across all generations. It was a real catalyst for people to then start collecting again. Or going back and digging out their old toys and displaying them, and for sure, I think that's one thing that we do have Force Awakens to thank is just that kind of invigoration of the love of Star Wars. I mean, for a little while it had dampened down, I suspect.
Right. And this isn't a great segue or anything, but I'm trying to be mindful of time because I know it's quite late for you guys, even though you're not fading like flowers, which is fantastic. At least not from my point of view. But what was everyone's thoughts on the trailer for Tales of the Empire?
Awesome.
Interesting. Interesting. I only saw it once. And I think the animated stuff's generally quite, it's easier to forgive if you guess what if you understand what I mean, because the dialogue tends to be aimed at children, and so it tends to be a bit clunky, and you kind of forgive it for that because it's essentially a cartoon. But they're able to appeal to a pretty wide audience, I think, and I think that's where they'll go with Tales of the Empire. I suspect they're gonna link into obviously the Inquisitor storyline that we see in Kenobi and some of the background to that. So that'll be kind of interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Inquisitors personally. I think they were kind of shoehorned in a little bit just to make the Sith a little bit more interesting, or Darth Vader, a little bit more interesting from a master perspective, and a bunch of people that kind of work for him. But they've never really appealed to me. But it'll still be interesting to see.
Yeah, I watched it a couple of times. I think I agree with Palm. I think it looks like they're going to try and link a couple of shows together. So it looks quite complicated. I'm not following it. I wasn't following it completely. But it looks like they're obviously going to tie in perhaps Ahsoka and the
Ahsoka as well.
show.
Yeah.
And it looks like they might try and tie in whatever Dave Filoni's sort of final he's going to do this sort of film, isn't he, at some point where all these storylines intersect. But I did like seeing Grievous on Dathomir. I thought that was something I did recognise. I thought that looked quite cool. I've got to say the animation writing is a lot better for me than the live action. So I really enjoyed Tales of the Jedi. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was actually fantastic. I really did enjoy that. And
yeah, I like the Dooku arc in that. And just going back, just one thing that I'm really looking forward to in Tales of the Jedi, hopefully they do it, is some scenes with Thrawn and Vader together.
Yeah,
that would be great. I think that's
Thrawn is Thrawn is an admiral in this, not a Grand Admiral. So there obviously there's real potential for Vader and then to square off, isn't there? So
I really enjoyed that book series. Not the latest Thrawn series that they
first
one.
I call it Thrawn because it was like Thrawn Allegiances, and I think Thrawn Alliances was maybe the second one, and then Thrawn,
the one with Vader, the one where he's that's a really good series of books, and I hope we see some of that in this.
And that was actually my introduction to Thrawn, was that book series, opposed to Heir to the Empire. So naturally, like when that trailer came out, I was losing my fucking mind because and people were asking me how I thought about it, and I was like, if Vader and Thrawn share scenes, I'm going to lose it because that's my first and second favorite character of all time in Star Wars. So I think like I was, you know how things are like, you can understand things seem quite fan servicey. I'm just like, I'm here for it. Like I don't care if it's fan servicey. Like I think it would connect a few dots, and I agree. Like I wasn't too fond of the Inquisitors whenever they would pop up in. I remember them more in Rebels. I found them
more in
more
Rebels,
because it like I guess it made sense that they were either
hunting Jedi, right? Basically, or the remaining Jedi. Yeah,
I think they were supposed to seem scarier to me, but for some reason they didn't seem that impressive. Like I think one died in an embarrassingly stupid way, if I remember correctly, like when he was doing his like lightsaber helicopter bullshit. It's like I couldn't take them very seriously, but I wasn't too close to the comic books, but there was one story arc where it was kind of like these failed out Jedi or whatever training to work for Vader, and I don't think they even made the connection that they were talking about them being Inquisitors. So I never made that connection before until seeing this trailer that I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. Like that's what and so they are taking stuff that kind of like we saw in the Clone Wars animated, but we didn't like hear anything else about those characters. So if you haven't been following the animated stuff, you might be quite lost in that or not understand. But I do like that we're going to get more of like backstory on Morgan, because I do think she was an interesting character.
Yeah, she was an interesting character, wasn't she? And there's Barra Sophie as well from the Clone Wars, I think's in there as well.
Yes,
so that, I mean, this is what I was saying where it might be a bit confusing. I mean, I'm not up to speed with all of the story arcs, but there was enough in there for me to be excited for. I think, like you said, Cece, I think the fact that it was Admiral Thrawn probably does indicate to me a big spoiler that they are going to pair off with Vader at some point. And the fact he appears at the very end, I think is probably inevitable. But there's a lot of dots to join with all of these series. And I just hope they can somehow do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I don't know how many episodes is it? Is it just 3 or is there more than that?
It's short.
3 of each, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, each character, I assume, that's what it was like before. I think.
Was that with pardon my ignorance, because everyone and their mother told me I needed to fucking watch it and I haven't done it yet. I didn't. So like it kind of like what Parminder was talking about, how fantastic Tales of the Jedi is, and I'm just like, yes.
Haven't you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet, and so
it's so good.
Drop off now and go and watch it. Come back in an hour. We'll reconvene in an hour when you see it.
My evening plans are sorted because I'll have to watch those. But was that 3 episodes then?
Yeah, it was 3 for Ahsoka and then 3 for Dooku.
jump
Okay.
straight to the Dooku one. That is
Yeah, the
that is
Dooku one really makes you
really
appreciate
great.
Dooku.
Yeah, really
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Nathan,
there's,
sorry.
sorry, yeah, no, I was going to talk more about Barris, because I'm quite interested to see, because we see in the trailer like Vader walk into the room.
Mhm.
Is Vader / Anakin going to recognize her? Because not only did she was the one that betrayed Ahsoka,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
but then Anakin faced up again. Well, he was the one who found out that it wasn't Ahsoka, and then he fought Barris. So is he gonna recognize her, or is
Good
he
point,
gonna,
actually. I'd totally
Well-
forgotten about that. Yeah.
because obviously
And
Barris bombed the temple, and then
Mm.
Anakin ended up
Mhm.
doing that anyway. So is he going to be like, well, you were right, or is he going to be like, it'd be interesting to see Vader maybe like have an Anakin thought almost.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
And that is what Tony might be lost on, the nuances of all
Yeah,
that
that's what's
happened. But I
worrying.
do
Yeah,
think,
too much going on.
and it's okay. You have friends like us. We'll help you with it. But I will say, like, that's what
You'll
I
have to
kind
draw
of
me a
like.
picture, CC. You have to draw
Well,
me. A
yeah,
picture.
I'll do a link art. It'll
Keep
be
it
like
simple.
with the strings and the pins and shit. Yeah. So
You got it.
I think like Parminder might remember this from the Thrawn books, is that I think it was that second book that Thrawn worked the closest with. Well, at least so Thrawn had actually worked with Anakin before he was
Mhm.
Vader. He kind of
Correct.
implied once he met Vader that he understood that Vader was Anakin.
Mhm.
And then like not like not directly, but
Sure.
enough like you understood Thrawn's very smart and like put the pieces together. So I don't know if Vader would say anything like directly to her regarding like it's Anakin under here, because
Mhm.
like, he's under the impression like Anakin's dead. But it's those kind of scenes that I'm curious how those interactions are going to go. But again, they're very like nuanced. Like if you don't know the backstory, you might like how are people supposed to be expected to know that Barriss has met Anakin before,
For sure.
unless they explicitly mention that in the show. So I'm excited about it, but I imagine some people who've only watched the live action will have questions. And it's coming up very soon. It's around the corner, which I appreciate. We're not going to have to wait for very long.
Well, it's literally we got Bad Batch finishes on the 1st of May, then on the 3rd we've got the Phantom Menace, and then on the 4th we've got Tales of the Empire. So it's
And
quite
Tales of the Empire will probably release all in one shot. It won't be like
yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it did last time.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to have to leave the Star Wars burlesque show to watch a kids show like right afterwards. That'll be
Yeah, get your
interesting.
priorities right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not a kids
It'll
show.
cleanse the
CC.
soul.
It's not a kids show.
True. But the only other thing I didn't talk about was like Bad Batch, because I haven't even started it and I've heard it's not doing too well.
Not at all.
The video game trailer for
That looks good. Outlaws. Yeah,
Yep.
Outlaws, is it? Yeah, it looks good.
I don't
But
have a
it's funny 'cause
PS5,
part of
but I'll probably get one for it.
Eclipse,
Apart from
I was
the fact that Ubisoft.
I'm sorry?
Well, Ubisoft. That's the only issue with it. They're charging
Stupid amount.
70 quid for the base game, and it's missing a mission. And then I think
You gotta pay.
the Ultimate Edition is like £120.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy for a game.
Yeah, that's annoying. The pricing of a game, you know, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Interesting. And it's like you have to I'm not a gamer, but I don't like the ethics of like you get the game and then you have to pay like additionally just to unlock like certain features like the in-purchase or in-app
They've
purchase.
done like a season pass or something, which is like for a single player story mode game that's the kind of thing they normally do for online games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bit silly. I get it.
I'll wait for it to be discounted, I think. might have to wait 2 years, but I might have to.
Yeah. I might not pre-order it. I will
Yeah.
get it sort of fairly early on, but I don't.
It does look really good. It does look.
Yeah.
Again, the trailer. It does look a bit of Jedi.
It's in that Empire, between the Empire and Jedi period, right? Which is kind of what's interesting is it's the same period that Shadows of the Empire was in. And I don't think Shadows of the Empire is canon anymore, right? I think that's now considered legend, unfortunately. But it'll be interesting to see how it differs from that, because there's it seems to be some overlap, given it's underworld stuff, because Shadows of the Empire was pretty much all underworld. So it'll be interesting to see if it has mirrors or utilizes any of the story arcs from that. But yeah, it's a great era. I think there's been people whinging about the main character, but I don't see any particular issue.
Well,
because it's a woman.
Sorry?
Because it's a woman.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me, because these same guys played Tomb Raider back in the 90s, right? And, so, I don't understand that whole, it's a female character. Well, Tomb Raider's probably the most famous playable character ever, and she was female. Nobody complained back in those days.
I just don't want her to be a female Han Solo. She has to be her own character. Like, that's my only worry, I think. Is
I guess that she's coming across as a little bit Han Solo-esque, but it's difficult to know, whether.
That just reminds me they should do something with Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. I've read some of the comics with her, and she's great.
She's great character. Yeah,
it's like they come close, but then they don't touch it, and she's quite popular. So we'll
that's a good point. Actually, I'm amazed they haven't done Disney haven't done anything with her, and she's great.
And those comics, like I rescued my Darth Vader #1, and what was the issue? Was it Darth Vader #1? I forget the first appearance of her.
It was early. It was early on in the series. I had the kind of the paperbacks where they had multiple issues in them.
The trades.
And it's pretty early on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
I don't know if it was like 1 or 3, but of course I read mine. But like those go for decent money, almost like people expect her to make some sort of appearance in live action. I don't think she's appeared at the Disney parks or anything like that. So I think that's kind of, because she's kind of like I would describe her as like a Han Solo meets Indiana Jones, but also she's a scientist. Like she's intelligent. She likes robots and stuff like that. Because that blew my mind. That like I'm like, why is she fascinated with Vader? And it's because he's more robot than man. That makes sense. So yeah, I think there's plenty they could be doing, but we'll see how Acolyte goes, and maybe like they'll pick up steam with some of this. Who knows what we'll see for Celebration next year? God, that is like almost a year from today, so that's going to creep up on us.
Well, tickets go on sale May the 4th as well, around that time frame as well. So there's a lot happening, in about 3 weeks' time. So.
I know.
4th as well.
Well, and I don't know if anyone here wants to go to Celebration, but next year, I guess there's something like they're going to be sold in yen. So people are already warning other people, like if you're going to buy the tickets via the website, it's going to be in Japanese yen. So like notify your bank. I was just going to do, I think PayPal is what I used last year.
PayPal converts, yeah.
Yeah, you should be fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, my bank are going to be like, this bitch is buying Star Wars tickets.
Pre-approved.
Yes. She's off the wagon again. But it's been 2 hours. I appreciate you guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here if that's all right.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. And anything coming up with the hyperdrive?
We've just we've just done an exclusive, which I think there's 2 or 3 left. I think we've done. If you go onto the hyperdrive, we've done an exclusive which we launched last Monday, which is the Praetorian Guard helmet from Mandalorian season 3. Trying to think of the actors' name. I think it's Paul Darnell who played one of the Praetorians, and he also played Marek in the Ahsoka show. That's from GEC. The helmet's from GEC Props, Jeff Curtis, and it's got a killer paint job on it by Walt Pearson. I think he's the design director at Tesla. So it's, according to Christian, George has handled the helmet. He did the review for us on the Hyperdrive YouTube channel, and he said that the paint finish on it is incredible. So yeah, if you're into the Praetorian Guards, I think we've still got two or three left.
To steal like a phrase from your side of the pond, when you mentioned the Tesla bit, I thought that was a wind-up. I had no idea that you were being serious. That's cool.
Apparently, it's been done. Yeah, me and Palm haven't really been involved in this one, but this one's Christian's baby. But yeah, I don't know whether Jeff knows him. I don't know what the relationship was, but yeah, it's been the helmets have been finished by him. So yeah, well, it looks really, really good. It does look really good.
We're having nothing to do with it. You rattled off a shit ton of facts, so
he knows more than I do.
Impressive. So yeah, check out the Hyperdrive.
Christian would throw me off the group if I didn't know anything about it. So
and then I'd initiate some kind of poll to bring it back. We'd figure it out, right? We'd start a GoFundMe or some shit.
Hashtag bring back Tony.
Exactly. That would be a weekend motto.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, save that for the weekend.
It would be a whole weekend of just Lobot pictures.
I know.
Yeah, it'd be great. Well, thank you guys so much again. I appreciate it. Let me see if I'm going to screw up this outro. But check these guys out over the Hyperdrive, and we'll be active over in the Rogue 16 group. Not sure about podcasts, but of course, check us out there, and we'll always post before we do one of these. But thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.